Hello and welcome to the latest episode of the Low Budget Review Show. I am your host, Eric Smith, and today I am talking about The Final Gate by Wesley Southard and Lucas Mangum. This is from Encyclopocalypse. I always find it a bit of a tongue twister to say that, but there you go. And this is a story about an orphanage, St. Luke's Orphanage. Brandon, his girlfriend Jillian, don't believe the people at St. Luke's when they're told that Brandon's younger brother Bryce has been adopted. And that's before they know about the strange sounds in the halls and the mysterious figures out in the woods and the goings-on in the basement of the orphanage. So they want to find out what happened to Bryce. And that's just the barest little nutshell to whet your interest in this novel, The Final Gate. Okay, so this book is a tribute to Italian director Lucio Fulci. His Gates of Hell trilogy, City of the Living Dead, also known as the Gates of Hell, The Beyond, The House by the Cemetery. And as Brian Smith says in his blurb, The Final Gate plays out like the prose version of an unfilmed Lucio Fulci script. And I couldn't agree more. It's difficult for me to talk about the book itself without talking about the Lucio Fulci movies, but I'm going to do my best, at least to start. If you don't want to watch this whole video, excuse me for running my words together there. If you don't want to watch the whole video, I'm going to tell you right now, I gave this sucker 5 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. Absolutely fantastic. Literally did not want to put it down. Stayed up very late to finish it. Let's see. I'm recording this on Monday morning, August 9th. Yes, today's the 9th. I just got this book in the mail yesterday. And as soon as I took it out of the box, I jumped right in. And yeah, I put it down so I could use the bathroom, have a meal, had to run to the store. But other than that, I just wanted to keep reading. It's compelling, and 5 out of 5. So there you go. If you want to skip the rest of this where I get into it, feel free. Just know you should go and get this book and read it. It's fantastic. But for those of you who want to know a little more, okay, so the book. First of all, very well written. I could not personally tell who wrote what. It flows seamlessly. Of course, the story is so compelling, I wasn't looking for any clues that, hey, Wesley Southard wrote this part, Lucas Mangum wrote this part. But even if I had been, I don't know that I would have been able to tell. It moves smoothly. The characters are interesting. Brandon has a history. The reason his younger brother is at an orphanage to begin with is because he was on parole. He's got substance abuse issues, alcohol, and maybe some anger issues. His girlfriend Jillian supports him, lets him fall off the wagon for a minute when he finds out his brother was adopted. But he's certain that there's something going on. And of course, so we meet them, we meet some other characters, this private detective that they hire, the people that run the orphanage, some of the children at the orphanage, and they're all written well. They're all interesting characters. There's some surprises at what some of the characters are actually all about. There was one in particular I assumed was going to be a bad guy and turned out to actually be a pretty good person. Um, hopefully that doesn't give anything away. I didn't tell you who it was, who I was talking about. The book is gory. Lots of blood, lots of violence, but it's not, how do I put it? It's not like hack slash kind of violence. It's creepy. See, this is where I just feel like I need to talk about the movies. If you understand the violence, the things that happen in the movies, then you can imagine the types of things that happen here. Screw it. Let's just talk about all of this, because this is, again, it's a tribute to Lucio Fulci. It's a tribute to the Gates of Hell trilogy. Now, previous to this past weekend, the only one of the three movies I'd seen was City of the Living Dead, which I'm a fan of. I've seen it multiple times. The music is fantastic. And then, because I knew this book was arriving, I finally buckled down and got Shudder, the horror movie streaming channel, who are not sponsors, although, if they want to be, here you go, Shudder, here's your chance. So I got Shudder so that I could watch all three movies. So I watched City of the Living Dead again. Love it. The Beyond for the first time, and The House by the Cemetery for the first time. And there's a certain, there's a style to Lucio Fulci's movies. There's signature things that he does. And those things can be found in here. Now, there are quite a few Easter eggs from the movies in the book, but you do not have to see the movies to enjoy the book. I think I probably enjoyed it more because I had just watched all three movies. And hey, if you like weird, gross, disgusting, horrifying, depending on which movie you're watching, movies, foreign films, I say check out the movies, but you do not have to enjoy this book. This book stands on its own. It's its own story. If you don't get the Easter eggs, they're not things that are going to stand out. And you're not going to be going, what the hell did that weird non sequitur mean? They perfectly fit into this story, but if you've seen the movies, you're going to go, oh, I know where that came from. So, yeah, you can read this book on its own. You can love this book on its own, the way that I do, hopefully. Two great authors, a great story that they've written together. But if you're a fan of the movies, or if you have Shudder, I don't know where else you might see these. Check out the movies, then read the book. Maybe read the book, then check out the movies. Made for a pretty fun weekend, watching all three and then reading this. Let's see. I feel like this isn't really coherent. I'm so hyped on this book, and I just want to recommend it so much. So yeah, the story moves at a fast pace. And one of the nice things, it has kind of the story itself is very much like a movie. There's a cold open, and then there's a title card, and then we get into the main part of the story. There are no chapters. There are scene breaks. So again, it's very much like reading a film. And there's even a end title card and everything, if you get what I'm saying. So it's so compelling. The characters, I mean, we're not deep diving it's not a character study. It's just like a Lucio Fulci Gates of Hell film. But again, I can't emphasize this enough. You do not have to be a fan of those movies. You do not have to have seen those movies to just read this and enjoy the wild ride that it is. It's compelling. It's grotesque. It's creepy. If you're a fan of either of these authors or both of these authors, I say, well, I mean, pick it. Obviously, I'm saying just pick it up. Just read it. It's so good. Man, this has definitely been rambly. But that's, again, I'm just super hyped. Plus, it's early in the morning. It was way too late when I finished it last night for me to record this. So I have not been up for very long. But I wanted to get this recorded and post it today. It's pushing other things. Everything's getting bumped because I just want to shout the praises of this book from the rooftops. I love this cover. That green, man, against that red. So nice. Yeah, so what else is there to say? Interesting, fun characters. Lots of gore, lots of creepiness. A beautiful tribute. But you don't have to know the source material. I think that covers everything. I'm not going to tell you too much more. You need to discover it for yourself. I don't want to spoil anything, any of the twists and turns and creepiness. So I recommend watching the other movies as well, but you don't have to. City of the Living Dead is my favorite. I may be biased because it's the one that I've seen the most. Plus, the music is just fantastic. The Beyond, definitely, I can see why that's the favorite of a lot of people. House by the Cemetery, I think the weakest of the three. I think a lot of Fulci fans, or at least fans of these movies, agree with that, but I don't know. I didn't take a poll or anything. So there, I don't know. There's my rambling, gushing review of The Final Gate by Wesley Southard and Lucas Mangum. I gave, again, 5 out of 5 on Goodreads. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to go you one better. As just a book that you can read on its own, a nice horror novel, 5 out of 5. As a tribute to Lucio Fulci, as a prose version of an unfilmed Lucio Fulci script, as Brian Smith says, 6 out of 5. Yeah, once again, breaking the laws of mathematics. That's how good this is. It's not deep literary. It's not gonna change your life. You're not gonna be filled with moral quandaries. You're just gonna have a great time reading this book. All right, that's enough. That's enough gushing. So, as a question for this video, we'll make it a two-parter. So part 1, have you seen any Lucio Fulci films? Have you seen, I guess it's going to be a multi-part question. Have you seen the Gates of Hell trilogy? What are your thoughts on those? Do you have a favorite? And then part 2, the big part 2. Do you watch foreign horror films in general? If so, do you have a favorite? Do you watch with subtitles on? Or do you prefer dubbing? That's enough things to ask. As for me, I have no problem watching foreign films. If something, just like books, if it's good, it's good. It doesn't matter where it came from. I prefer subtitles. I find dubbing distracting. Although, in the Lucio Fulci films, even though I think like half the cast is speaking English, half the cast Italian, I believe they're all dubbed. just that's the way it is. That's the way the movies are made. But generally, I prefer subtitles. And I don't know. It's hard to pick a favorite. I really like the French Extreme, like, Martyrs and Inside. Those. But there are some great Asian horror films from Japan and Korea. And then, the Italian stuff. There's a lot of good foreign films out there, good horror. But anyway, so those are your questions. So let me know down in the comments below. If you have any questions, comments, or corrections, please put them in the comments below. Comments are open for spoilers. Just post a spoiler warning. We try to be polite here at the Low Budget Review Show. Please like, share, and subscribe. And if you'd care to follow me on other social media, my Twitter is @Ronin5757, and my Instagram, where I post pictures of books, comics, board games, and fuzzy animals, is Eric Smith 5757. That's Eric with a K, ERIKSMITH 5757. And that's all I've got. This has been the Low Budget Review Show. I have been a very enthusiastic Eric Smith. And until next time, read more books.